Hi, I'm Diana, and my relationship with my mom has always been pretty interesting. You see, my mom is in jail, and has been for about 10 years now. I live with my older sister who has done her best to look after me, but it's just not the same as having a mom around. It isn't her fault that she's in jail. My dad didn't treat her very well. One night, she took the money out of their joint account and ran away for her own protection. She even had to leave me behind to try and escape him, but the police caught her trying to leave the country with the money. The court didn't believe her and she ended up being charged with fraud and being sentenced to years in prison. I try my best to keep my mom happy. I bring her presents and I cook her favorite cakes and bring them to her in prison, but they never seem to make her happy. She's so unhappy in jail that I just can't do anything to fix it. Well, at least she is one of the most popular women with the other inmates, as she told me. They even call her Rocky as she's so tough. No one will dare to mess with her. So, with Mother's Day coming up, I knew I had to do something really special to make her happy, and I had the best idea. I thought I would do something different, and something big. I hired a plane to do some skywriting in the sky above her prison. I thought when she and her prison friends saw it, she would be so happy. And I was going to surprise her by skydiving out of the plane, too. When it got to the day of my skydive, I got really nervous. I don't like heights. When I was up in the plane, the man literally had to push me out. I was so scared. But once in the sky, I was having so much fun. I really started to enjoy it. As I was falling to earth, I was so happy. I could see all the inmates in the yard below and knew that my mom would be there watching. I looked up and saw the plane in the sky riding in pink smoke. Happy Mother's Day, Rocky. I was so pleased. Then I pressed the button on my backpack and it released more pink smoke, my mom's favorite color. I was so excited. Mom would definitely see me now. But I hadn't anticipated one thing. I couldn't see. There was smoke everywhere. I started coughing and spluttering and my eyes were sore. Then I started to worry. I knew that I had to release my parachute, but it was so smoky I couldn't see the pull cord. I started feeling all over myself trying to find the cord, but I just couldn't get a hold of it. Then I looked below me and I was near the ground. I knew if I didn't pull the cord soon, then I would be in big trouble. I finally found the cord and pulled it. I felt the parachute open up, but it was too late. I was traveling too fast and I was going to hit the floor with a bang. I closed my eyes and braced myself. I landed on my back with lots of women in orange jumpsuits gathered around me. Then some prison guards ran over to me. It was pretty scary. Some of them had guns. There was a lot of shouting going on. I looked around. I couldn't see my mom anywhere. I became aware that I couldn't feel my legs. I looked down and realized they were sticking out at funny angles. I let out a scream and then passed out. I woke up in the hospital with lots of doctors and nurses working on me. There was blood everywhere. I must have passed out again as I woke up a few days later with both of my legs in plaster. It turned out my parachute had opened, but I still hit the ground really hard. I had landed right in the middle of the prison yard. I should have died, but by some miracle I had only broken my legs. The next day I was discharged from the hospital. I rolled outside and waited for my sister to come and collect me. But she didn't turn up. Instead, a police van pulled up in front of me. An officer got out and asked me my name. When I said who I was, he told me that I was under arrest. I was wheeled into the back of the van and driven off. I was so scared. I had never gotten into trouble in my life. They wouldn't even tell me why I was being arrested. We got to a large building and stopped outside. I was wheeled in and they finally told me. I was being arrested for breaking into the women's prison. I told them that it was an accident, that I was trying to surprise my mom for Mother's Day, but they didn't believe me. I asked where I was going, but they didn't answer. They just wheeled me into a room where 2 men were waiting. I realized they were prison guards. I was being put in prison. After changing into my orange jumpsuit, I was led through a door into a big cafeteria. The prison officer told me sarcastically that I was lucky as I had just arrived in time for lunch. He laughed and left me. All the prisoners in the room turned around and stared at me. This really tough-looking woman walked up to me and looked like she was going to start threatening me. Before she could say anything, I told her that she'd better watch out, as my mom was Rocky and if she messed with me, she'd have to answer to her. The woman's tough face dropped, then she started laughing. She told me that the nickname Rocky was ironic. She wasn't tough. She was a wimp and a liar who everyone hated. I then got really angry at the woman and said that my mom would be out of the prison soon anyway, that she didn't even deserve to be in prison with her and everyone else. She started laughing even more and said that my mom was in jail for child abandonment and she wasn't innocent. I couldn't believe it. Why was she saying that? After eating the worst meal I had ever had, I wheeled around the prison until I found Mom. I asked her about what the woman said. She said that yes, she had abandoned me. She had never wanted me and she'd lied about why she'd gone to prison. She had stolen my dad's money and had left me in a car to go and start a new life. He was the innocent one in this, not her. She said that I was such a stupid girl, I always believed her lies. Then she told me that she was going to be released in 2 months. So she would be in the real world and I would be the one stuck in prison. Then I saw who she really was. All my life I had idolized her and tried to impress her, and I could have died trying to make her happy, and it was a lie. Well, I had had enough. For the next few weeks in prison, I kept my head low. Luckily, people left me alone. I used my time to think up a plan for revenge. One day, my sister came to visit me. When she arrived, she already knew of my plan. She'd always known what my mom was really like. It was just that I'd spent so many years thinking my mom was wonderful, I had refused to believe it. When the guards weren't looking, she slipped a small package into my cast. Later on that day, I waited until Mom left her cell. We hadn't spoken for weeks, so I had to sneak in. I got the package out of my cast. It was lots of packets of cigarettes. I took one out, then hid the rest inside her pillow. Then I lit the remaining cigarette and let the smoke fill up the room. I chucked it under her bed, then got out of there as quickly as possible. I waited a while, then I told a guard I could smell something funny coming down the hall. The guard sniffed the air. He could smell the smoke. My plan was working. He would find the cigarettes and think she was selling them to the other inmates, and she would get a longer sentence. That would serve her right for lying to me for all these years. But as the guard ran in, the fire alarm went off. I must have started a fire. We all had to evacuate. We were escorted outside as the prison went up in flames. But the big yard we'd been in had led out to an open gate. Some of the inmates saw it and made a run for it. There were so many people on the run that the guards couldn't stop them. And one of the inmates escaping was Mom. As she ran out to her freedom, she turned and gave me a wicked smile. I didn't try to get away. I was innocent, and besides, I was in a wheelchair. But I was so angry seeing my mom getting away. The fire was put out pretty quickly, and we were all moved back into the prison. 20 inmates had escaped, and over the next few days, they were all found and brought back to jail. The only prisoner they couldn't locate was my mom. A week after that was my court date. I was let off with a warning as they understood that it was a stunt gone wrong, not a break-in attempt. As the verdict was read out, I looked around the courtroom. I could see someone I recognized watching from the back. It was my mom. She was wearing a wig and a fake nose, but it was definitely her. I moved back in with my sister and life got back to normal. But I was always expecting my mom to turn up again one day. About a year later, there was a knock on the door late at night. I opened it and my mom was there. She pushed past me to get in. She begged me to help her. She'd been on the run for so long now. She looked different. She'd had plastic surgery to change how she looked. She claimed to be working as a spy, helping to rid the world of injustice and helping others like a superhero minus the powers. But there was a problem. If she was caught and taken back to jail, her good work would have to end. She needed me to go drive her to the border where someone was going to meet her and help her escape the country where she could carry on doing good. I agreed to help. She hid in the back of my car and I put a blanket over her. I drove in the dark with my lights out until we reached our destination. The men were there to meet us, but when I opened the boot and pulled the blanket off of her, she saw it wasn't the man she expected to see. It was the police. She looked at me in shock. I smiled to her and said, "That serves you right, Rocky."
Have you ever done something embarrassing when you thought nobody was watching? Like dancing around your room in your underwear or singing your heart out? Now, how embarrassed would you be if your crush saw you? Well, that's exactly what happened to me in my first year of college. You can call me Jessica. Yeah, it's not my real name, but I don't want anyone looking me up and bringing this horror story back in my life. Ugh. My face gets so red just thinking about it, and I'm still dealing with the problems from people not respecting my privacy. I hope, if nothing else, my embarrassing story can be a lesson on what can go horribly wrong when your information is made public. Before that, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. If you do, your favorite celebrity will follow you back this week. Ugh, I would have killed to have one of my favorite pop stars follow my Instagram. Unfortunately, I don't post as much as I used to. See, my dream was actually to be a pop star. I was obsessed with singing and dancing and fashion. Right before bed, I would always dress up in ridiculous, flashy clothes and put on a show in my bedroom. I always wore a boa and a mask. There was something so freeing about letting loose after wearing a boring uniform all the time. One day, I did something pretty stupid though. I was watching YouTube, just like you, and I said to myself, I need to get on YouTube. I spent the whole night recording, but when it came to actually post them, I got a little shy. I was super cringy now that I got a chance to look at myself. Still, they were a lot of fun to make, and I ended up recording a bunch of videos throughout middle school. By the end, I had about 20 videos I kept on my laptop. They were my dirty little secret and biggest obsession, that is, until boys started coming into the picture. Coming from an all-girls middle and elementary school, I was so excited when I got to my co-ed high school. There were boys everywhere. Unfortunately, I never actually learned how to interact with boys before. Every time I tried to talk to one of these gorgeous creatures, my knees would buckle and I'd stumble over my words. I was also really desperate for a boyfriend and got a little too excited when a guy started a conversation with me. This one moment haunted me forever. I can't believe I'm going to share it with you. Pay attention because this is actually where a lot of my problems started. So this one time there was this super popular guy having a huge party. Let's call him Doug. He didn't exactly invite me to his party, but I just kind of showed up with some friends. I kind of had a crush on him, even though I didn't know him so well. I thought this would be my moment to show people how cool and fun I was. I was outgoing and friendly. Lots of people were laughing at my jokes and stories. Or so I thought. While I was dancing in his living room, people cheered and clapped for me to do my own kind of solo. All eyes were on me, and I felt like a star. Suddenly, Doug approached me. I thought at first that he wanted to ask me to dance. He came over and whispered in my ear, "I have something I'd like to tell you. Maybe not with so many people around," he asked. This was it. "I have a crush on you too," I blurted out. If anyone was looking away before, they were staring now. This super pretty upperclassman threw her cup at him. "Seriously, Doug? Are you trying to cheat on me?" she screamed and started running away. "No, babe, it was a misunderstanding. I was just trying to tell her to fix her dress," he shouted back, running towards her. My dress? Well, I'll never know for sure, but let's just say people were probably not laughing at my jokes. Instead, they were probably laughing at my fashion mistakes. Not only did I tuck my dress into my underwear, showing everyone the childish bunny print granny panties I had worn, but I must have sat in cake sometime during my time socializing. Not just any cake, chocolate cake. I didn't even try to defend myself. I ran off crying. I don't know what was more embarrassing, the underwear or the fact that I blurted my feelings for a guy in front of his girlfriend. I know what you're thinking. How could this get any worse? Well, trust me, it does. As you can imagine, I wasn't very popular after that. People made fun of me in the hallways all the time. Someone even smooshed chocolate cake all over my locker. You could say I was a bit depressed. I wanted to be a star, and now I was just so timid and boring. The only people I ever saw were my parents and their work friends. Sometimes their boss would bring his son, but to be honest, he was incredibly unattractive and creepy. I know that sounds shallow, but I'm sure you wouldn't want to hang out with him either. Part of the problem was, he thought that being rich automatically means girls had to like him. He smelled really bad and never wore clean clothes. He was also incredibly overweight, and one day he left a sweat stain all over my mom's chair. Then he proceeded to tell me how lucky I would be to have a guy like him. When I turned him down, he went on a rant about how girls don't like nice guys, and I only turned him down because I'm shallow. Newsflash, Conrad, you're just a jerk that happens to be ugly. Bad combo. After that unfortunate event, I asked myself, is this what my life is really coming to? Fighting with some rich kid about why I don't want to date him? Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know that housing a guinea pig alone makes them depressed? In Switzerland, it's actually against the law to just have one. Well, I was just like that little depressed guinea pig. I just slept and binged Netflix and surfed the web. I was fooling around on YouTube watching a bunch of videos when a My Story animated video popped up on my feed about a famous YouTuber. And while watching the video, I got a bunch of flashbacks to how I wanted to be a star as a kid. They were embarrassing, but fun. I found my old mask and boa and started making them again. I thought it would be therapeutic, and it kind of was. My 18-year-old body fit my outfits a lot nicer than before. I made my new videos a little hotter. It helped me feel pretty. I had to have made around 100 videos my senior year of high school. I kept them all on my laptop, of course, and never posted a thing. I would have died if they got out. When I started college, I decided to leave my video career behind me. I got a new laptop and left my video camera behind. I was determined to turn over a fresh leaf. I went to a school far away from my hometown so I could forget everything about the bullying and embarrassment. During orientation, it was fantastic. I met a bunch of awesome people who knew nothing about me. Better yet, there were a ton of hot boys. I was super happy and excited. That is, until I made it to my first class. There in the front row was none other than Doug. I still had a bit of a crush on him, but that didn't change the fact that he could ruin my reputation in a matter of seconds. I tried to hide behind other people when I walked in, but in the end, I was paired up with him for a mini presentation. I thought he was going to make fun of me or call me cake butt or something, but he just acted normal. After a while, I calmed down. Maybe he didn't recognize me. Wrong. When class was over, he asked to talk privately to me. Part of me was panicking that he was going to blackmail me. Another stupid part of me thought I was finally getting a confession after all. Turns out, neither was true. He wanted to let me know that he did remember me, but he promised not to say anything. He said that he never thought it was right for me to be bullied in the first place, and people were too harsh. On the outside, I was relieved and grateful. On the inside, Cupid was waging war. There was something about his kind of attitude that really added fuel to the fire of my passion. He was hot, rich, and nice. Before I got a chance to fantasize anymore, some girl came and grabbed Doug's shoulder. "Hey babe," she said, eyeing me up and down. "Who is this?" "Oh, just a friend from back home," he answered cheerfully. She was a year below me in high school. "Interesting," she sneered. "Well, I have cheer practice, so I'll see you later for our date. Love you, babe." She started making out with him for a bit, and you can tell she did it for me. She wanted me to know he was hers and I was just some girl. It kind of dampened my spirits until he made a small comment after she left. "Sorry about her," he said plainly. "She just gets jealous when she sees me talking to pretty girls." I could feel my face immediately turn red. Like, I must have looked like a stop sign. He thought I was attractive? I couldn't really find words to express myself. He just chuckled cutely and went on his way. That was it. I had just booked a one-way ticket on the Doug train. Now, most girls would say this is my time to battle his girlfriend for his affections or slip into his DMs. Sadly, I am not that confident with guys, so I did the next best thing. I did an entire sweep of his social media. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. If he had it, I saw it. I know it sounds a little intense, but how many of you can seriously say that you never Instagram stalked someone? Do I see any hands? No. Now, it may sound a bit hypocritical to post a video about having my privacy invaded while invading someone's privacy, but in all fairness, he posted them. If he wanted them to be private, he could have set up his account differently. I wanted to get to know him better, his likes and interests and so on. I started watching videos he liked on YouTube and even learned a bit about some of the fandoms he was into. It actually helped us make a lot of conversation. If watching a little Rick and Morty brought us closer together, it was worth it. One day, though, I stumbled across a post that I didn't need to research anything about. See, I was only about a month or two back in his posts when I saw a comment about how hot something was. I always got a little pit in my stomach when he complimented girls in posts, but I'll admit this particular post had me a little conflicted. The post was a video of me, one of the ones I did privately at home. I didn't know how to respond. I was happy Doug thought I was attractive. Then again, did he know it was me? Most of all, who posted all these videos? After a little digging, I saw that they had posted all of my videos, all 100 of them. They had so many views and so many comments, some good and bad. I didn't know what to do. My heart was absolutely racing. How could someone do this? I wrote the account myself. I asked who they were and why they had stolen my videos. Their response, "That's what you get for messing with me." Immediately, my mind flashed to whom I could have upset. Conrad. It was 3 a.m. and I immediately got on the phone with Conrad. I was mad, but also a little scared. Like I said, some of these videos were really hot. My parents would not really approve. They might even cut me off. At first, Conrad denied knowing what I was talking about. I told him I needed those videos gone. I would do anything. Anything? He asked coyly. How about you go on a date with me? I felt like I didn't have a choice, so I agreed. Just one little date. How bad could it be? Well, it was a nightmare. He wore a dirty graphic t-shirt to a really fancy restaurant, and I kid you not, he ate some of the spaghetti with his hands and wiped the sauce on the expensive tablecloth. Anytime the waiter was slow, he would threaten to get them fired for embarrassing him in front of his new girlfriend. I was so embarrassed. I wanted that nightmare to end. I even had to dodge a few kisses from his dirty, greasy mouth. Sadly, the end was far away. When our date finally came to an end, I confronted him. "There you go, you got your date. Can you please delete the videos now?" I asked. He looked super uncomfortable. I started to cry. "I did everything you asked. Please, this could ruin my life." He looked rather defeated for a moment and then revealed that he didn't actually know what I was talking about. He sickly took my desperation as a chance to show me a good time. Joke's on him, because at the end of the night, I hated him more than ever. I was cursing him and screaming at him when he finally apologized. He said that he had a few friends in IT and maybe they could help me. I asked if this was another one of his dumb tricks to get me to hang out with him, but he promised it wasn't. He brought me to a loud dance club. I wanted to turn around, but he told me to trust him. My buddy lives downstairs, he said. I followed him through the dance club into the basement. In retrospect, it was pretty stupid. There, sitting at a computer, was this scrawny little guy with a microphone tattoo. He was a hacker, and he said he'd be able to crack and upload my videos. I was skeptical at first. I mean, my future was depending on the detective work of a tattooed brony who lived in the dance club. After a few minutes of typing away at his sticky keyboard, he gave me a name. I didn't recognize the name at first, so I decided to do one last round of social media stuff. It took me a second to recognize the name. It was none other than Doug's ex-girlfriend from high school. You remember the one that I confessed to Doug in front of? Conrad's friend recognized her immediately. We used to go out. He even still had videos on his phone. He told me I could use them as leverage to get control of that account. And it worked. She was super upset about it, but I had to fight fire with fire. I felt so much better after our conversation, and it was not because I was back in control. It turns out Doug yelled at her for making a scene that night at the party, and they ended up breaking up because of it. She never really got over it, so when she saw my parents selling my old laptop, she decided to buy it and see what dirt she could dig on me. When she found the videos, she uploaded all of them. Then she sent a link to Doug. Her plan backfired though, because he just thought it was hot, but he didn't recognize me because I was wearing a mask. When I heard this, I was so happy. I wrote Doug immediately and told him I was the one in the videos, and I wanted to date him. Maybe posting these videos gave me the confidence I needed to pursue him. I got all dressed up in my nicest dress. It was actually the one I wore in one of the videos where he commented that I looked hot. He complained about the girls he dated in the past and how I was nothing like them. Now, try not to judge me, but we immediately jumped into a passionate relationship. He encouraged me to post videos and try to build an online following. Everything was great for a while. Sadly, my story does not end at our happily ever after. See, while I was busy obsessing over Doug, he never actually finished dating his other girlfriend. I only found out one day because I posted a video of the two of us on Instagram, and she confronted me in the comments. I got so much